I'm so sunburnt. Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. This is my review of the Sarah Jane Adventures Series 1. If you want to watch any of my Doctor Who series reviews up until this point, or my Torchwood Series 1 review, click up in the corner now and there'll be a link to a playlist of all of them. I'm just going to get straight into it and start talking about Invasion of the Bane. It's really clear by this story that this is a kids show. This is the one that kids can watch. Doctor Who is for the family and then Torchwood is for the adults. So with a lot of these stories I've got to give them a bit of lenience just because they're written for such a young audience. I like how everything was introduced through Maria, just how Torchwood was introduced. Torchwood was introduced through Gwen, and Doctor Who, the modern series, was introduced by Rose. I like the way Russell introduces the audience to his shows, works very well. I thought the story of this was alright. Like I said, it was very childish, but the actual story wasn't too bad. I absolutely fucking hate Chrissy, Maria's mum. She just drives me mental. She's just so selfish, such a bitch. I love the references at the end as well to Harry Sullivan and the Brigadier. Next up, Revenge of the Slitheen. It was actually alright. I mean, the Slitheen were quite shit in Doctor Who, but they were alright in this. I really like Clyde. I think he's really funny. The whole story was quite funny. It was very light-hearted though. It was probably just as light-hearted as Invasion of the Bane, but the story was just better. I love the dynamic between the main characters. I wonder what sort of where the line gets drawn when it comes to things switching off. Do TVs turn off? Do laptops turn off? Do cigarettes and vapes turn off? I don't fucking know. It shows a lot right at the end how Sarah Jane is willing to save the Slitheen. I know that comes up later on in the series and obviously I'll get to that. But yeah, and I really enjoy the classic style format. Obviously this wasn't the case with Invasion of the Bane because that was a special, but for the rest of the series, and I think going on in future episodes as well, future stories as well, you've got 2 half-hour episodes basically. Eye of the Gorgon. I love how it's slightly darker than the other 2 stories. I love how they explain a mythical creature. I think the fact that they've got a mythical creature in it already makes it a little bit more for the older kids as opposed to the younger kids like the first 2 stories. It was predictable, but I thought it was still a clever way of defeating the Gorgon. Obviously they ended up using the mirror to make it look at itself. But the ending when Maria uses the talisman to sort of save her dad, it was very lucky, and that's something that is the case throughout this series. The endings are very lucky, and if one thing didn't go according to plan, or if one thing sort of slipped up by accident, the whole world would have been destroyed. Warriors of Kudlak. I thought the plot was really cool. I love laser tag. I tried it for the first time a few weeks ago. I thought Kudlak looked really good, except when it came to his big long coat. For some reason that just didn't look right, especially when he was running around chasing Sarah Jane and Maria. I thought it was quite funny how Luke was with the girls at the end. Girl at the end. Yeah, no else to say really. Whatever happened to Sarah Jane? I thought it was written very, very well. It was written for definitely the older kids. I love how Alan and Maria saved the day for once. I think Andrea, she was such a bitch. She shouldn't have taken the credit at the end. She was so selfish about it. And I think, obviously she was going to die anyway, so any normal human being would think, well, it's either me and everyone, or just me. You'd go for just you dying. But I think she was very selfish about it. I think the Trickster is a very, very good villain, and I can't wait to see him again in future series. Alan obviously now knows about aliens, which takes us to the Lost Boy. I thought Alan was great throughout this story. Again, he was one of the best bits about it, and the Lost Boy is actually quite a good story in itself. I thought it was really sad when Sarah has to say goodbye to Luke. I love how Clyde takes things into his own hands to the point where obviously he endangers himself quite a lot. When Mr. Smith turns bad and sort of kidnaps Clyde, I suppose, you sort of get a shiver down your spine, because this is essentially a character that we've got used to for this whole series, and he's been built up, and it turns out that's all a lie. I thought the scene right at the start of part 2, where Sarah was trying to steal that headset, I thought it was very silly. I think if you were going to go into a top secret place like that, there'd be a bit more security. I think she probably should have had some sort of balaclava on, and then when she eventually got out, all those obviously alarms were just overkill, to the point where they had the lasers. That was just stupid. And then the worst bit about that was when that fucking guy on the motorbike tried taking her out. I love how Maria explains the Slitheen to Alan. The way she says it's basically only fools and horses with green skin and claws, which is basically what they are. And I love that zapping sort of competition between K9 and Mr. Smith. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. I thought the ending to the series was very good. It definitely did justice to the rest of the series, other than that little shit scene with the sort of heist thing, I suppose. But other than that, it was really good. I think in general a lot of people have put off the Sarah Jane Adventures purely for the fact that it's a kids show, it's on CBBC. And while yeah, it is a kids TV show, there's a lot of good bits in it as well. Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane, very good story. The Lost Boy, again, it's a really good story other than that one scene. And it sums up the whole series very, very well. So yeah, if you've been put off by it in the past because you feel like it's too childish, don't let that put you off, it's still really good anyway. Anyway, I'm going to try this drink. This new drink that I bought. Bubble Shock. It contains Bane. Drink it. Drink it. Fucking drink it!